Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for another rambling craft time chat, which that means, though a lot of times I'll have craft time chats where I'm focusing on specific topics, like you might have seen in some of my more recent ones, like overcoming depression and some various topics like that. Sometimes I just like to do ones where I'm just talking about what's going on around here. It'd somewhat be similar to my this and that videos, except for those ones I'm usually showing projects. This one I'm just going to be talking about various things. And the main topic, I'm still going to have a bit of a topic. The main topic I wanted to cover today was talking about news, current events and stuff like that. And just to kind of let people know where I'm at when it comes to that. I went through a time, and I did a video, it was another craft time chat a while back on Are Preppers Crazy? It might have been, it's over a year ago at least. And the thing is, I already went through a phase where I decided I'm going to learn everything about politics and everything about what's going on in the world. Now, while that was a really good catalyst to get us in the position that we are in now as far as being prepared for various things, whether it be small events or big events. So even if I could take that time of my life back, I wouldn't do it because, it worked out for the best for us. But because I've already been there, done that, and I didn't like the person that I was when I was really caught up in all the politics and everything that was going on, I won't put myself there again. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't try to keep up here and there on things, at least when it comes to a more local basis. I think that's where it's more important. Keeping your finger on the pulse of what's happening around you locally, because those are areas that you can make changes in and be better prepared for, and also to help people out that are in need. Those are the kinds of things I can see being, staying up on. And I think that's important when it comes to voting, when it comes to your local offices. That's where you can actually make a difference, not so much on the bigger level, but I'm not going to get into that here because that can be a matter of debate. All I know is I've been there, done that. I'm not going to say anything more about the political side, but that's going to come back into current events. Now, what some leader in some other country is doing can, yes, definitely have an effect on us, but worrying about what they're doing is not going to do anything to help us as individuals. It's actually only going to hurt us. And again, I'm speaking from personal experience and my own view on life right now where I'm at and what I've discovered. And when I was caught up in all of that stuff and worrying about everything, well, that's all I did. I was worried. I was scared all the time. And when I wasn't scared and worried, I was mad. I was angry. And it just seemed like I wasn't content with life and just always freaking out about everything. And I realized one day, it just kind of was while I was listening to a specific talk show I used to like to listen to back in the day, and little at a time I started hearing things that I knew for a fact were not true. We'll say an alternative talk show. And that kind of started to clue me into some things, and then I started realizing and really paying attention to how listening to that person made me feel and the mood that it put me in, and it wasn't good. Again, I was angry and scared all the time, and I realized I got to turn these voices off and I got to focus on life in the areas where I can make a change, and that is here with my own family and my own household, and in what I do to put ourselves in a better position preparedness wise, savings wise, health wise, all these things. And that's where my focus had to be. And really, when you start getting into where you're gardening and you're earning an income from home, like I'm doing right here, that's what I'm doing right here. This is why a lot of times I'll shoot my chats in here, because I can do double duty. I can get something done for my Etsy business while I'm also shooting a video. And so I'm killing two birds with one stone. But anyway, I just don't have time anymore anyway to get myself too caught up on that. And again, I can't change what's happening on the large scale by worrying about it. Worrying does nothing. Being scared about it does nothing to help anyone's situation. But I can take control here in our own lives to put ourselves in just a better position all the way around. And that's where my focus is now. And here's what I found since I started doing that, and that is I have found so much more peace and contentment. I have no more fear of the future and what may or may not happen. As a Christian, I know what the Bible says. I know hard times that if they haven't come already, they are coming and they will come. And I don't believe any rapture is going to prevent us from seeing hardships. In fact, that's already been clear. If you look all through history, people have been suffering all over the planet, suffering for their faith or whatever. And the rapture hasn't saved any of these people from either dying for what they believe in or just simply going through hard times. I mean, even here in the U.S., people have suffered some pretty hard times, not necessarily for their faith, but just for living, whether it be losing their home and their jobs and a whole bunch of stuff all at once, like some people recently shared with me here on YouTube in the comment section. Several people have shared with me some pretty rough times that they've been through. And if it wasn't for their faith in God, I doubt they would have made it through as well as they have. So that's why I don't believe any rapture is going to save us. Do I believe in the rapture? Yes, but not in the way that a lot of our modern churches are preaching it. So coming back to this issue is I just think that we know what's going to happen. So I'm just going to focus on the good things. I'm going to focus on being content and happy with my life, but also being diligent and wise to be prepared for whatever happens, even if it means all of a sudden YouTube and Etsy and all this stuff just comes crashing down one day. And these are major sources of income. So if that happens, well, we're prepared to handle it. That's the thing, and it can happen. So that's where I'm at, and that's why I don't. A lot of times people may say something about what's going on in another country, and I'm to say, no, I don't know. I have no idea, and frankly, it's not that I don't care. I just don't see why me caring is going to do any good if all it's going to do is make me scared and worried, because I can't change what some leader in another country is doing. I can't change what the leader of our own country is doing if I wanted to. I can't. We can make certain changes by voting, yes, but you'd probably be surprised at how little change you can make on the grand scale when it comes to the higher up elections and all that. It's like I said, I've already been down that road and seen how the game is played. And it's pretty depressing, that alone. The only thing I've been hearing from his word has been that we can't and we shouldn't focus on the negative things, that we need to think on the pure things, on the good things, and consistently pray and be thankful, because when we do that, it puts our mind at ease. It just puts us in a better state of mind all the way around, and helps us to focus more on the things that we have to be grateful for. Anyway, that's where I'm at. I don't know if any of that makes any sense. That's me. If you want to do that, and that's what you need to do for whatever reason, and you feel that's the right thing, and it's not becoming detrimental on the relationship you have with your family, your friends, or even being just content with your life, then that's fine. I can't tell you what to do. I just want people to understand where I'm coming from. So yeah, I put my focus here. God is in control. My faith is in Him and Him alone. I don't put my faith and trust in any man or woman, for that matter. And I'm content with that, and I'm happy. And I find peace in that. So moving on from there, let's talk a little bit about just some other things going on. I've had a couple people ask about what's going on at the property. Well, it's winter time, and right now that I'm shooting this video, it is January 18th, so you'll be seeing this closer to the middle of February. But anyway, the property, it's winter and rain country, which means we did actually get some snow. We actually got quite a bit for us, but as usually happens within a few days, I'm looking out there and I can see a little bit of snow out on the ground. but it's all melting away a little at a time because it's raining and the rain is washing it away. We've actually had it rain in the past, like just dumped down a whole bunch of snow all at once, and it was like, whoa. I mean, you know, the schools are closing and all this kind of stuff, and the next day every bit of it is gone because it rained all night and there went the snow. This one's taken a little bit longer because we've been getting off and on, you know, rain, snow, and so it's taken a little bit longer for it to go away. And there's still a chance it could snow a whole bunch more all of a sudden, but it never lasts long here in rain country. So all that is to say, out at the property, there's really nothing to do out there at this time, just like there's very little to do here at this time outside. Sometimes I do go kind of poke and peck and clip some herbs and stuff to kind of cut them back and get them ready, but most of that's going to be done in the spring when I have some drier days to do that, because it's still just, it's too wet and mucky out there. In fact, we've got basically a mud hole just outside the chicken coop where the chickens and me and the dog and Patrick, we're all walking back and forth, and it is just, we need some more grading or gravel or something. In fact, gravel's kind of useless out here, just putting gravel down. You would have to put it like a foot deep for it to make a difference, because this time of year, it just, everything turns to mud and everything gets sucked up into the ground. So I wouldn't mind getting some more grading. You know, we talked about putting a concrete walkway around, but I just don't want to dedicate myself to that, anything quite so concrete at this time, because I don't know if that's what I really want to do. We still might make some other changes here on this property. But as far as our other piece of property, yeah, it's just nothing going on out there. In fact, it doesn't even look as pretty as it once did. And I'll put some clips here so those of you who are new can see our new little piece of property we bought this past, I think it was spring that we bought it. And you know, last spring of 2019. But anyway, there's now some really big, huge piles of dirt out there that we got from someone because we got some low spots we're going to fill. But right now they're just big piles of dirt that we can't do anything with because Patrick has to, we have to wait for it to dry out enough where Patrick can take the backhoe or the excavator out there and start, you know, spreading that dirt and filling in some of the big holes to make it easier to mow and just make it overall nicer. So even after that's done, it's still not going to look very nice because we're going to have a lot of dirt patches that are still going to need to fill in with grass. And as far as gardening goes out there, I still at this time don't plan on putting in a garden. The only thing we might do maybe this year is there is an Oregon, I think it's called an Oregon crabapple tree, right on one corner of the property that we might take out and then replace that with a more fruitful tree, because those little Oregon crab apples are pretty good, but on the city property all around it, there's a whole bunch of those trees. But I would rather get something that I would find more useful. Like we don't have here, we don't have a pear tree yet, so that's one of the things I definitely would like to get to put out there. We're planning on putting at least one fruit tree and probably more. I mean, we've got our 5 or 6 little fruit trees right out front here in the front yard that we did last year. We took the big trees out and then put in some fruit trees, and we don't need a whole lot more fruit trees, but then again, I would still like to have pears. It's the one fruit that we don't have, and I like pears. I especially like pear butter. I like pear butter better than that's kind of hard to say. Pear butter better than apple butter myself. I mean, they're both good, but for some reason I just like the taste of the pear butter. So I would like to get one of those. We might try to take the blackberries that are already growing out there just naturally and kind of work with them a little bit. And one thing about blackberries is even the wild ones, you know, wherever they're growing wild, is if you keep up on them, they will get better berries over time. We've thought about taking the thornless blackberry we have here between the deck and our greenhouse out back and maybe moving that out there. I might eventually put raspberries out there, but still a lot of the stuff we have to keep thinking about the fact that elk like to live out there on the property during especially in the late summer. They like to really hang out there, and that's when apples and stuff are ripe on the tree is late summer, early fall, and you know, pears would be the same. And so they like to eat all that stuff. I think they don't bother the berries too much, so we might be okay with those, but I don't really want to put up a big fence, and that's what we'd have to do, and that's kind of the drawback. Those of you who've been following us for a while will know that right now mostly what we're be using the property for is just having family get-togethers, and you know, we have that little cabin out there, but we've thought about maybe setting that up as an Airbnb someday, and that could possibly happen. There's a lot of stuff that still needs to happen before we can do anything real official at that. We're still just thinking about it, but either way, we still think it was a great investment, and we're just so glad to have that. And we're still keeping our eyes open for other property like farther out of town, something that would be more as a getaway location, you know, and or another place where we can camp, or and possibly eventually build an off-grid cabin. We go back and forth on that all the time. You know, we're pretty happy right here in our home, and even though we're in town on a lot in the neighborhood, we're making the most of what we got, and we're still close to our kids this way. I think if we lived way out of town, we would see far less of them. I'm positive that would happen, because it would just be, it'd be more out of the way to come out and visit us when they get off work or whatever. And as it is, Justin, especially when he gets off work, you know, he doesn't work that far from where we live, so he just a lot of times swings by and visits us for a while and before he goes home, and that's been pretty cool. And one of these days we hope to have grandkids, and we want to be close, you know, close enough where the kids can bring their kids and we can watch them or just enjoy their company or whatever. And so that's pretty important to us, which is why, like I've said in a couple of videos, why we've made the changes to this room that I'm in. If you're new, it's my old dance studio / martial arts studio, and I taught here in this room that we had built for that purpose for 28 years. And then I retired from that, and so now the room's been converted into this work room where, you know, I've got my little sewing corner over here, and then we've got game tables and different things going on in the middle of the room. And if you're interested in that, I have a video where I did a full tour and showed also some pictures of what it looked like before when I was teaching classes in here and didn't have the fabric room built in here and all that. Yeah, so I'll link to that video down below if you're curious. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of what's happening property-wise. At this time, not much going on garden-wise, but by the time you're seeing this video, it's very likely by then I will have started my tomato and peppers in the house. So I was really successful with them last year. It was nice, and we got those big trees out, and we had a lot more sun coming in the window. I was able to start my tomatoes and peppers just in the front south-facing window without having to use added light or heat. Just the heat from the fireplace and the light coming in the window was enough to get some really good tomato starts, and pepper starts too. Here's the thing about my channel, is even though I like to stay 3 weeks ahead at all times, that's just to be in case something comes up and I can't shoot videos or edit videos for a week or 2 weeks or whatever. I can just relax and know that and keep videos coming out, so everything's scheduled, you know, 3 weeks or so ahead of time as it is. However, during the time of the year where I'm doing garden related stuff, what I do is I leave a blank spot in the middle of each week where I can do a garden update, so that it can be, it still might be a day or two different from the day I shot it, but at least I can have it closer to being up to date, so you guys can see what I'm doing when for our area and how things are coming along. Oh yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about was, if you remember, about a month or so ago, I did a video on the COPPA thing and not sure what's going to happen. And honestly, I really wasn't that worried about it. And yet I still felt maybe it was a good idea to just kind of put the information out there just in case some major blow up happened. And even after I shot that video, I learned some more things that made me feel more secure in my channel, and not feeling too worried about anything major happening, because I know what our content is, and once I learned even more about the laws, you know, and went past what just YouTube was telling us, I started feeling like, okay, you know, we're good. But yeah, so here we are, middle of January, and so far nothing. I haven't had any videos demonetized, and initially I privatized a few videos that I thought could possibly be of concern. And then about a week later I changed my mind and said, no, I don't think this is going to be a problem, so I made them public again. And so far nothing's happened. But with that in mind, I actually have considered, maybe, I don't know yet, but and time obviously is going to play a big part in this one. But, you know, thinking about the fact that someday I'm going to have grandkids, I hope, I'm kind of thinking that it might be nice to have my own channel just for my grandkids. And so that might be something I might do down the road, is have a channel for kids. But I think I'll have it in conjunction with this one rather than have videos in this channel that are directed at kids, because I'm not sure if I do that, how that, if I have some videos that are directed at kids, if that's going to be something that's going to possibly change my whole channel and remove my community section. I like having that community section. I don't post in it a lot, but I like having it, and I don't want to lose that. And I know that channels that are for kids, they don't get that community section. Yeah, so it's something I might still do. So if I think it would be safer in that aspect if I just made a separate channel and just not expect to make any revenue off of it, because it would be, you know, it would be directed at kids. Because it might be something kind of cool to have where my grandkids could listen to grandma read a story, or I can show them how to do various things and have it be specifically for kids. I think that would be fun, but we'll see. We'll see as time goes on. I got time to think about it, so because we don't have any grandchildren on the way yet. Oh, and then the other thing I wanted to say while I was thinking about the community thing is that as much as I like that community section, YouTube never sends me notifications. I don't know if it's just me or if that's just the way it is, but if somebody comments under a post that we put in the community section, we never get notifications that people have commented. Nothing like that. I don't know if you guys do, like when I reply to your comments, if you get notifications, but we don't get them. So when I make a post, I have to remember to go back in and look, and I might think to do that for the first couple of days that I've made a post, to go in there and check and see if there's any comments that I can reply to or need to reply to. If, you know, people have asked me questions, especially. But after a couple of days, I'm caught up in other videos and commenting on, you know, responding to comments on those, that those community posts get forgotten. And then I might happen to go in there one day and go, oh yeah, I should check and see if there's new comments. And oh look, there's a new comment. Somebody asked me a question like a week or two ago. Oops. So I apologize that that happens. It's not that I'm ignoring people intentionally. It's just, unless I go make it a point and remember to go look to see if there's any new comments, I won't have any way of knowing they're there. And of course, I'm sure a lot of you probably figured out where we're at as far as the size of our channel. I get messages to Facebook, I get emails, I get messages on each of my Facebook pages. I have 2 pages, plus there's the profile, and I get messages there. And then there's comments on YouTube, and it gets really hard to try to keep up on all of them. I do try to read them all, but some things don't always get through, and that's the other thing. I don't know what's going on with my Gmail, but a lot of times my emails, they don't go into spam. They just don't come through on my computer at all, and that's where I do all my emailing. I don't like to use my phone for stuff like that. I don't. But for some reason, the emails will come through on my phone. I'll find them later. I'll happen to stumble across them doing something else. I'm like, whoa, what's this email here? It's been days since it was sent, but it never showed up on my email and on my computer. And I don't get that. I don't know what's going on. So if you email me and you don't hear anything back within a couple of days, then try sending a message to Facebook, especially if you send it to my profile. I'm probably most likely, well, the Rain Country Homestead page, I'll get a message there too. I try to keep up on them all. It's not always easy, but some I can keep up on better than others. It just depends. So anyway, I just want to make sure you guys know I'm not ignoring you, and I wish I knew what was going on with Gmail and why the emails won't come through to my computer. It's not coming through on Gmail at all, because even the Gmail on my phone is not coming through, but for some reason it's coming through to the iPhone email box. It doesn't make any sense to me why it would come through the iPhone email application but not the Gmail application. It's just bizarre. I mean, it's the same address. Well, I think I probably rambled enough, and my throat's starting to get sore. I can feel those nodules in there starting to swell up, so I better close this video. Well, I hope you enjoyed my rambling update chat, and I doubt that you learned much new here, but I hope maybe I gave you some food for thought on a few things, and just kind of keeping you updated on what's happening around here. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.